you offer in the budget. Because if you say you're not going to provide a one-time incentive, but you're going to pay a larger percent of the family coverage, which most of our people are family coverage, you may get more people who find that that's attractive to go over to the high deductible or remain. It depends on what happens when you
But last year, when we voted on that, on the 21st of May, we were told this was a one-time thing. We would not do this again.
That was what we presented last year. That's correct.
So we have no reason to think that it would change. I mean, that was the plan. So I guess my concern is, if these rates are based on a certain number of people choosing that high deductible plan, and now all of a sudden we don't offer that incentive, I mean, because really 65 people, that's quite a few, really, that chose a plan that, wasn't really looked at in an attractive manner, at least in previous years. So if you don't offer that amount, are they going to switch over to the other plan?
If they switch over, NPR quoted the rate on 10,000 employees. They wouldn't change that rate. They have a rate from an insurance company based on a pool.
10,000 people.
Well, they have 5,000 participants, and their participants, if you're looking at an average of 2 people for their participants, they're looking at almost 10,000 people. Even if they only look at everybody in their pool carrying single coverage at 5,000 participants, we can't compete with less than 100.
And also remember that what we pay, what the city pays is 100% of the single high deductible premium. So if employees go to Plan B or the HMO, the city's not paying anything different. They're paying the same premium. So if employees switch plans, there's no impact negative to the budget. The employee will pay more.
They pay, right.
Right.
That's correct. They pay the difference.
Yes.
So, Mayor, just to kind of wrap up on kind of why we wanted to just kind of clarify on why this item was removed is the decision for tonight, which was the April 1st date for the 90 days, would have been to recommend to you to terminate the contract with NPR. Based on the data we have, that we would not be able to get those services for the city at a lower rate, staff was not recommending terminating your current contract with NPR. So if council would like to offer a different plan, which provides a little bit richer plan to the employees, then you would want to terminate your contract.
Well, it doesn't have to be a richer plan. It just has to be an alternate plan that may be more beneficial to everybody, taxpayers, staff, and, I guess that's everybody. But it doesn't, just, again, only if you compare those two plans that you got the bids on,
okay,
is that true. But once we go out in the market, like I said, NPR could be the cheapest by design on the plan that they offer, but is that necessarily the best plan for the employees? I don't know. Is it the best value for the taxpayers? I don't know that either. But I do know that unless we terminate a relationship with NPR and go that route, which frees us for every year after that, we will never know that answer.
But I guess my concern is if we terminate with NPR tonight, chances are pretty good we're going to see an increase.
If we only adopt the same plan, which there's hundreds of plans. Coventry alone has, dozens, possibly 100 plans out there that they can adapt to whatever budget and whatever needs you have.
Are there other council members who have comment regarding this?
I appreciate Larry's passion, but the thing that I would like to understand from Laura and Mary's perspective, Cheryl talks about richness of plans, and I agree with that. And where I'm going with this is, have we considered self-insuring? Have we considered maybe, and we can talk about the dollars in a budget setting, and it's on the agenda, but have we talked about maybe city contribution of the premium? Because I think that's a health and welfare, employee satisfaction piece that we don't consider. But I think we could table this and get it on the agenda and discuss it at a later date. But those are the two items I'd put out there.
So what is the answer then? Have we considered self-insurance?
It wasn't really a question, it was more of a statement.
No, but I'm following up with, make it a question.
Yes, actually, one of the vendors, one of the brokers that we talked to us about self-insurance, and that, our understanding's kind of been in the past, if you weren't at least 100 insured, it wasn't really worth looking at. And we did spend quite a bit of time talking about being self-insured, and quite frankly, we're very interested in the next probably 3 to 5 years of moving that direction. You do have to put some capital funding up front to start your self-insurance kind of pool, and until we have a better feel for where our budget is, and we have a lot of we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of unfunded projects, and we have a lot of things to do with our tax dollars. To come to you this year and say, we think this would be a good fiscal response to our insurance plan, we just didn't feel that that was really appropriate to bring to you. But we are very interested in that, and we're kind of committed ourselves to continuing to look at when is that appropriate for the city of Gardner. And I think in the next probably 3 to 5 years, as we kind of roll into our visioning and have a good understanding of what we're going to do with that budget and how we're going to deal with all these very large unfunded projects, what can we utilize, what would we take that money, and how, because we are going to have to put some money aside to be able to fund starting up being self-funded. It's absolutely a great question, and we're very interested in that for the future as well. Don't think we're really ready today.
No, absolutely, and I wasn't alluding
Good
to
question.
tomorrow for that matter. I just, from a visioning perspective, I think it's something that we've got to understand.
Yes.
Again, back to Larry's point, that we can build to suit, if you will, and that's a timing issue, don't misunderstand me.
No, absolutely.
But we need to be able to have the forethought to understand when that timing is suitable for the needs of our employees, which do a tremendous amount with very little.
Absolutely.
Have we received any written confirmation that NPR is not using, retained earnings or reserves to subsidize these rates? I mean, what good is it if they're drawing on the savings account?
I'm sorry, as far as their reserves, they are not drawing on their reserves.
Do we have notes from a board meeting that say that?
I'm sure we can get those. I don't have them here this evening, but I'm sure we can get those. They are not they're not drawing on their reserves this year. I'd be happy to provide that to you. We can get that.
It's really material now more than later, but.
Regarding this matter, I guess the question is, does anyone on the council wish to consider ending the relationship with NPR? And if not, then I would recommend you continue conversation with Cheryl, unless other council members would like to continue in that conversation.
Well, you have a resolution ready to go then?
If the council decides they want to terminate,
Yes.
yes, we can terminate.
I move
If you
that
want to
we,
terminate.
What resolution number would that be?
It would be 1893.
can we get a copy of it, or?
So the resolution you are receiving from the clerk would be the resolution to terminate your existing relationship with NPR, and instead of buying our insurance with a pool of, there are 5,000 participants, we would buy it on our own for the 85 participants that we have.
Since this is our first night, and before we move on, I would ask, is there anyone in the public who wishes to comment on this item before we proceed? That being the case,
I move that we approve Resolution 1893, which repeals Resolution number 1783 of the City of Gardner, Kansas in its entirety.
is there a second?